Hello and welcome to the Salt City Gamescast. It's episode 152. My name is Nick Naylor. Sitting across from me, Jared Olam.
What's up, man?
Well, this is it. If we make it through this recording, it's gonna be the last show before my son shows up,
Mm-hmm.
and getting a little. It's like go time. You're like, oh man, we're back into it. Like we're free of diapers and all that shit, and now it's just like kind of dawning on us that it's like, oh no,
It's all coming back around.
It's like all the way back to square one. But yeah, we're in that awkward time right now where it's like, when's the baby gonna show up? Because my wife's like, the baby should fucking evict now or now. Like,
Yeah.
Our previous or our first born, she came about a week early because my wife went to the doctor and had high blood pressure.
Mhm.
So there was like, yeah, you just go on over to the hospital and we'll induce you. So it was a very mellow affair.
Mellow for you.
well, really for both of us, because she didn't wake up in the middle of the night. Like,
yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't mellow once the labor, but like the initial, right? But now, we don't think that's going to happen because my wife checks her blood pressure every 5 minutes because she's just like, come on, high blood pressure.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
No high blood pressure.
Shockingly healthy blood pressure.
Okay.
It's just it's exactly where it's supposed to be. So we are just in the waiting game. Technically she's not due till May 2nd, but because the baby's so big, they were going to induce her in a week. So at max, it's 6 days away.
Which is wild.
Yep.
That's big. We talk about a lot of things that don't really matter. This is one of those things that absolutely matters. And also like hard for me to really wrap my mind around because I am a childless heathen. But yeah, very happy for you and your family, and it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, it should be. It's been a long time coming, and through the power of science, we are here, and we are ready to
also
do this.
As like an added bonus for people that listen to this podcast, you won't have to hear from us for a while, except you.
Well, that's not really true. Last weekend we had Dan in, who's been on the show a couple times, the Elden Ring show, Diablo show, and we just recorded a bunch of shit. We got together, we had some whiskey, we talked about Monster Hunter, we talked about Japan, we talked about just whiskey, and so I think there's at least 3 shows there that we will probably take a little bit of time off as far as games, and then we will come back with probably a billion things to talk about.
Yeah, that's gonna be overwhelming. That's gonna be pretty hard to kind of like figure that all out, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. We've got some stuff to talk about today, though. There's some things that have happened.
Yeah,
things we're playing.
We have been waiting. We've been waiting for Nintendo to come out and say the Switch is going to cost $500 or $550 in the US, and I really was just like, that's going to happen. Like I would have bet money on it.
Yeah, 100%.
And they came out and said, no, it's still the same price, and then they jacked up the prices of a lot of accessories. I don't know all the numbers, but I remember that I saw the Pro controller went up like $10.
Yeah.
So I don't know what their play is here. I also am not. I don't think that the price of the Switch is safe still, like just because of like the world.
Right.
They have a lot here already that would be free of the tariffs. They've been here for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? I mean, by the fall, does the price go up? Are they waiting for someone else to jack the price? Because maybe.
Yeah, that was what was reported, as they had been like stockpiling consoles for quite a while in the United States to kind of circumnavigate this. So at least presumably for the first little bit, we shouldn't see any price hikes from the originally stated price. But I mean, the writing's on the wall. I mean, Sony just announced for the PS5 Pro, they're going to raise the price in certain regions. So like, yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. So hopefully you can get in on the ground level at this low price of $450. Yeah, I mean, the peripheral and accessory, pricing increase, I think is, it is what it is. I mean, it's something had to have happened. You don't pause a pre-order, for your console right before it's about to start, unless there's like some serious considerations that need to be made on the back end. So
I feel like Nintendo's they're locked down pretty good, so we probably won't ever hear. But I would like to know what those conversations were.
Sure. Yeah, Doug Bowser probably was not happy.
I
Yeah.
just can't. I can't with that guy's name. How does that happen?
I don't know.
And it's just like cheating. Like through the last 10 years, like it's like, oh yeah, I'm really going for this promotion. It's either me or it's Doug down the hall. It's like, Doug, I haven't met him. Yeah, it's Doug Bowser. It's like, oh, I don't think you're gonna get the promotion, buddy.
Yeah. No, you're kind of up against it if you're competing with Doug.
Bad news, Kevin Toadstool, but you don't have a shot. Like, fuck, it's not happening.
Kevin
Like,
Toadstool.
just,
Yeah, I mean, I think the bigger conversation to have is, as the dust has kind of settled since the announcement of the console, we're getting more and more information about, kind of their strategy with games. We had a lot of questions the last time we talked about this in relation to like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. They're doing some real scummy shit with that. And I don't think people, I think pretty much broadly, are very unhappy with some of the decisions they made around that. And, the fact that they're releasing like these perfect, true versions of the game that don't include DLC, which is like, this is like, how can you nickel and dime your consumers as much as possible? This is it. This is how you do it. You know what I mean? So scummy.
I saw there was a lot of questions about whether saves were going to work for a little bit, but it sounds like they are.
Yeah.
That was really going to send me over the edge. I was going to come here pissed if it was like, hey, your Tears of the Kingdom save is not going to work on this new version, but it sounds like it will.
Yeah.
There was just some weird verbiage on some of them regarding cloud saves, but I think that's blown over and it's okay.
Yeah, and then there's also, this is not just Nintendo, this is broadly, all of the manufacturers, but they're just basically giving you a download code for physical on some games, but not all. So like you get a cartridge and it's just basically a DRM check to make sure that you purchased it. And then you still have to download everything.
You're going to be so mad.
I'm very mad. I'm very mad. Even more mad because it's like, look, I get it. Like, this is the way that Sony's been running their business for quite a while. This is nothing really, truly new. But
this is where the industry's been heading for since the Xbox One.
Yeah. It's really shitty, though, because it's like they're saying, like, Mario Kart, for instance, the full game is on the cart. But then it's like, what games aren't fully on the cart? I guess Cyberpunk is another one where the entire game is on the cart. And so it's like, well, why are some this way and others are? It's just very messy and shitty.
Yep.
And it's like, so you have the capability of doing it, but you're not doing it. I just like, why make a fucking physical version at all? Like, why? And then it's compounded upon because Nintendo has some of the worst support for their online services after a generation has been sunset, right? They usually just wipe the floor, get rid of all of the internet capability with their older platforms, the stores shut down. And then what happens then? Then you're just sitting around with the Switch 2 when whatever fucking comes out next and you can't go back and play any of those games. It sucks. It's shitty. I hate that this is the way that the industry is, moving towards this. But, it is what it is.
Hopefully everyone's heading in a direction of what Steam is, where you've got your catalog. I mean, it seems like it would be real hard for someone not to do it. Like in 8 years, the next Switch comes out and that losing all your stuff, I just don't know that they can get away with that anymore.
Well, they'll certainly try, Nick. I think the way that Nintendo specifically looks at it is it's like, I think that of all, yes, I could see like Sony and Microsoft doing that. But Nintendo, I don't see them doing it because it's just like, we've got the games, the best games, the most beloved games, and we're just going to resell those games to you for full price without DLC. That's what we're doing at Nintendo. So like the idea of them having this like ecosystem, a continuity ecosystem where they're just like, yeah, you bought this game on Switch 2 and now we're on this console. It just doesn't, I don't think it's going to happen. They're going to be like, it doesn't work anymore on Switch 2, but you can buy it over here for
Yeah.
You know, maybe a discounted price.
And I don't think enough people are going to be mad for it to matter, because I think that the general public that's buying it, they're not going to care.
Yeah.
They're not going to, they're just make it's a weird way to play Mario. Okay, whatever. Like,
Yeah, I think that that's fair, but I also think that we got our priorities fucking mixed up here.
well,
You know what
yeah.
I mean, just from the simple preservation perspective, like it's all fun and games when the fucking Atari game doesn't exist anymore or whatever it is. And it's like nobody wants to play that shit. But now we're in this world where genuinely incredible experiences are coming out and games are just on such a different level than they were back in the day.
Mhm.
And now we're like staring down the barrel of potentially like this game that was fantastic when it came out. You can't play it anymore, potentially. It just sucks.
Probably not for most of Nintendo's stuff, but then outside of that, right?
Right.
Like Nintendo's going to keep doing their online service where they bring in all this shit and you can subscribe and probably
Right.
get what you want.
Well, there are, yes, for like your first party, like well-known Nintendo IPs, absolutely 100% right. But then games that are not completely, you know, Nintendo properties, like I know that like I think Xenoblade's a good example of that, right?
But Xenoblade, like the I think it's Sakaguchi games that he made, like The Last Story, stuff like that. That was on the Wii, but it's like that. Those are prime for. It's like, well, it was only there,
Right.
It wasn't anywhere else. So if it's not preserved properly, that's trouble.
Yeah, huge trouble. Fucking get it together, assholes. Stop being so fucking greedy and figure it out. Like at least have some sort of way to preserve games. Like look, I like collecting physical copies of games, but if these companies would just come out and say, look, we're making these games, we understand that they're important to preserve nowadays, we're going to find out a solution for this problem, right?
Yeah.
I think that Microsoft, surprisingly, has probably been the best. At least they say they're the best. Although I am a little bit concerned with like this AI shit that they're floating where they're like, we're going to emulate these games through the power of AI. And so it's like, so we're talking about games that came out on the original Xbox, for instance, that are being reimagined through the power of your AI software. It's all
such a crock of
shit.
Shit. It's not AI doing that. Like,
It's just well, that's what they've been pushing, right? As of late, the CEO talked about it like a month ago and was specifically highlighting, not Phil Spencer, but the Microsoft CEO.
Yeah.
Was specifically highlighting this as like a possibility for their AI, and this is how we're going to preserve games. And it's just like, have you seen how AI handles hands and feet? Doesn't do a good job.
Stuff of nightmares.
Yeah, it's like Master Chief's got like the goofiest fucking hands and feet imaginable. I don't know, man. It's a big fucking mess.
Someone must want AI. I can't. I just look at it and I'm just like,
I
what
think
are we doing?
I think
here?
that grifters want AI to be a thing, just like grifters want cryptocurrency and NFTs to be a thing.
Sure, absolutely.
Everybody buy into it. It's the next big thing. Invest. Buy the stocks.
That's pretty much where we went, right?
Yep.
NFTs went down and it went right into AI.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. All these major companies are hedging their bets on this big fucking new thing that's going to revolutionize the world. And I just don't see a lot of evidence that that's going to happen, man.
No. I'd rather have a 3D TV.
A 3D
TV. Do something stupid.
I mean, they've had those. They sucked. They all sucked.
I'm just saying of all the things that sucked. That's the one I would probably, at least. That's all right.
In the form that they took at the time, yes, absolutely, they sucked. Like now, you figure out a way to do it without a headset on or the little glasses, maybe a little bit more compelling product.
3DS already did it.
I'm aware, but nobody did it on like that I know of as like fucking large 60-inch panel. You know what I mean?
I never used that shit on a 3DS. I turned that off immediately.
I always would turn it on just to see the functionality of it.
Yeah.
For like 5 minutes tops, and then immediately turn it off, and then never turn it back on again when I popped in a new game.
I felt like I was gonna have a seizure or something. I was like, I don't know, this is it.
It hurt your eyes.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing, but I don't know. I don't know, man.
Who the fuck knows?
We got some games to talk about.
Yeah. I have gone down a hole. I'm an absolute lost cause. A game I kept hearing a lot about it, seeing a lot of people like on Blue Sky and Reddit, and the game's called Blueprints, and this is a puzzle game, and it's. I meant to look up the guy's name, but I believe it was made by one guy over like 8 years,
Huh?
and this is a handcrafted, pretty, in my opinion, incredible experience. But I should say right away that it's the type of game that if this is your jam, you probably don't. You really don't want spoilers, and I'm not gonna like specifically try to spoil anything on this game. But I went into this game blind, and I would probably encourage most people to go in as blind as you can because um, it's pretty cool figuring out how this thing works. Have you played any of it? A little bit of it? None of it?
I played a lot of it.
Okay. So
Like 20, 25 hours.
goddamn. Okay. So it basically it starts out and I think it's your uncle and he passed away and he's like, "Yo, I'm leaving my mansion to you. All you have to do is come in here and find I believe it's the 46th room."
Correct.
And you're like, "Okay." And then you show up and it says day 1. Walk in the mansion and there's kind of a letter for you and it's like, "Hey, you can't take anything out, but you can camp here for as long as it takes, I guess."
Mhm.
And every day it's going to reset. Every day the house is going to reset, and it's basically a puzzle like rogue like.
Mhm.
And oh man, I'm into it. I am super fucking into this thing,
Mhm.
and it was a little bit of a slow burn. You the way it functions is it's essentially this grid system, and they call it draw, but you like as you
Draft.
draft and you go to like a door and you're like, all right, I want to go to the next room, and then it brings up 3 random options of the next room you can make, and there's
Mhm.
different categories of rooms, and some might be a dead end, some might have 3 different doors in them, and they do a wide range of different things or give you different materials that you're going to need, keys, gems, and things to get through this house as you're trying to go up. And it's like to get to this antechamber, which you don't really know much about. And at first I was like, I have no idea what I'm fucking doing for a while.
Yeah.
Like not 5 minutes, not an hour. Like it really took a while until a few things start to like fall in place.
Mhm.
And as they do, and as you start to work through certain puzzles, and there are puzzles fucking everywhere in this thing. Important ones, maybe not important ones, but most rooms have something going on in them. And as you really start to like crack this thing and start to like get into the layers, I've just been absolutely hooked. Staying up about an hour or so later than I would normally want to because I can't stop fucking playing. And I'm just like, I gotta try again. I've been trying to do the specific thing for like 8 days and I can't fucking get it yet. And that's been frustrating. But where are you at on it? You played 20 hours, so you probably don't hate it.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic, which is surprising because I don't
I
like.
didn't know where you're gonna fall because some of the puzzles, I mean, uh, there's ones you can totally wrap your head around, and then there's some pretty fucking obtuse ones.
Yeah, that would be one criticism that I do have of it is just like some of the puzzles that you're gonna find. Like, I think they need to give you at least some bait to like at least understand that there is a puzzle in these individual rooms, and sometimes there isn't, and that kind of leads to some frustration where you're like, I don't know if there's anything here, but I want to find out if there's something in
Yeah.
this individual room, so I'm just going to wander around the room. And
Like there might be a hidden safe, but you've got to figure out how to get that safe to show itself.
yeah,
But it's not in every room.
right. And so that is kind of frustrating when, especially because like there are certain rooms, and we should say that there's basically like a deck behind the scenes. And as you draft rooms, once you draft a room for the first time, that it goes into like your rotation. There are also ways to upgrade the rooms, which is fucking insane and absolutely like you're gonna get kind of used to certain rooms where you're like, okay,
Mm.
like I know how this works. Like for instance, this is a good example. There's a billiards room that you get very early on in the game, and there is a puzzle that involves a dartboard, which is pretty simple. It's math, which I hate,
I fucking love it.
but
Oh god.
it's very simple. It's just order of operations, so like very elementary stuff. So like if you know order of operations, then you can figure it out. And then it gets harder. That's another thing that's very interesting about this game. The more you solve puzzles in a given room, the next time you get that room in a subsequent run, the puzzle is more challenging. So like with the
some of the rules change.
Sure.
Some of what you're used to and or you're used to seeing with that dartboard game. Suddenly I'm just like, what the fuck does that mean?
yeah.
And then I had to kind of
Yeah, it
figure it
starts
out.
out it's just like, order of operations, and then square roots will start to come in, and you're like, oh, okay. But anyways, the cool thing about it is you can find these floppy disks that you can take to specific terminals in the environment, in certain rooms, and you randomly get the opportunity to upgrade the room. So with the billiards room, there's like a bunch of different modifiers for it. So there's one modifier that allows you to just kind of revert back, and instead of doing order of operations, the puzzle then changes to just basic subtraction and addition and subtraction, basically.
What?
Yeah.
I haven't upgraded that room.
Yeah.
So that would that's pretty compelling because they're getting quite hard
Yeah.
over on my side because I've been doing one every fucking run
Mhm.
and I've been pretty much succeeding at it every
Right.
time. And
But there are like 3 different modifiers, so you can change the room. You can turn it into a pool hall,
Mm.
which makes the room bigger. And the puzzle on the dartboard gets more complicated that way. And then there's one other one, but I just wanted to highlight that because I think
But-
it's fucking nuts.
well, and what's interesting is that's one of the things that's going to make my game unique
Mhm.
because I'm gonna upgrade a certain room. Like I have a spare bedroom now or something like that, and I'm gonna upgrade something, and you might pick a different upgrade path.
Right.
And there's a few other ways to change kind of the rules around things. There's an experimental lab that you can kind of get some random modifiers
Yeah.
and do some things where maybe you get the more money at the beginning and stuff. And
Right.
I did a little bit of that last night, and I'm like, well, this seems for what I've been trying to work on, this seems like a good thing. But really interesting. It there's a little bit of a knock on it that there is some RNG here. So
Yeah, it's a
like,
roguelike.
you can
You can have a bad run.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
if you it's really not meant for you to be like, I want to do this exact thing, which is something I've been trying to do because I
Mhm.
know I'm gonna have success if I can do it.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten the fucking rooms right.
Right.
They haven't rolled, and I've still just been like, well, I'm just gonna keep trying and hopefully it'll happen. And so that's kind of like could be a knock, except I've really enjoyed just playing the game every fucking time. I still enjoy going through the rooms. I fucking suck at that turnkey game, the fucking boxes.
Yeah.
Um,
There's one truth and 2 lies, and you kind of have to. It's just a deduction puzzle. I'm actually really good at that one, and that gets harder as well.
It's just
the more you
not-
succeed.
yeah, it's like you're not just finding the box that tells you the true thing, and that's what breaks me.
Right.
I've had to like rewire my brain. I did a little better the last few runs, but I swear I had a run where I was like 5 in a row, and I was like, God damn it!
Yeah, that's the thing that I was kind of talking about, going back to like some of the abstract puzzles. Like when you draft those rooms that we just described, whether it's the billiard room or the parlor where this box puzzle is at, there is like a puzzle piece on the room, so like there's a puzzle here,
Yep.
But then there are rooms that have nothing that also have puzzles, and so there's just it's like trial and error. You gotta just have to like mess around, which I don't. I mean, I think there should be some indication that there's a puzzle like there, so you don't have to. I'm not saying like give me clues on how to solve this, and I think they do a really good job, and it's very fascinating as you kind of go through different runs. You'll draft rooms that you maybe have not drafted before, and like for instance, I found a room that explained the rules of the billiard puzzle, and I mean I figured it out on my own,
Mhm.
but like there are things like that in this game where you're just exploring in the rooms that you draft. You'll find explanations to puzzles that you maybe have already seen, haven't seen,
Oh, for
which
sure.
which is really it's a lot to take in. I've seen a lot of people saying like you got to take notes, and like yes, maybe you do. I haven't been taking notes.
Well,
Most of it is just like, okay, what's the, like for instance, what's the combination of this safe? I commit it to memory. I just know
sure.
it, right? And
What
so
about there is a picture puzzle going on.
yeah, that one's hard.
That one you have to take. Like
Yeah,
you can't commit that to memory.
no, I don't commit that to memory. You didn't let me finish.
Okay,
I was
all
going to
right.
say that for the most part, you can get through this without taking notes, because I absolutely hate that. I don't think I don't think a game should require you to take notes. I mean, and that's just my opinion. You know, some people really enjoy it. And I've seen people being like, I love this, I take notes. And it's like, no, like that's not fun to me. But
I'd prefer, like, for this specific puzzle to have some sort of grid-based note within the game or
sure.
something that you could just be filling out.
Yeah, there's a library in this game as well that's really cool. And the library serves a couple of different purposes. You can check a book out every run. So you go into the library the first time, and there'll be a list of books you can check out. You can also buy more books to add to the library, which is really helpful because it'll just give you more and more kind of understanding of different mechanics in the game, which is really cool.
Some of those books are like not helpful, or I don't know the puzzle it's telling me, or they're extremely helpful to learn about the game.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And then, yeah, like I said, you can buy them at a books. You can buy more books that are sent
Crazy expensive.
They are very expensive. But it serves a couple of different purposes. So you can check out books. And then there's also at the top of the library, there's like a long standing record book that shows you like all of your performance in previous runs. And then also shows you like relevant story beats of like, newspaper clippings or things like that, that, you can go back and reference. It's like, why is that just not the note? I mean, I understand that like it's dependent on drafting the library,
Yeah.
but that's a solution right there to, instead of being like, no, you just got to take notes. It's like, no, just put it in the fucking library. So that's kind of frustrating to me, but it's a pretty small criticism of an otherwise, like, I've never played anything like this. It's drawing on, a roguelike system that has been done 1,000 times at this point in time. But the puzzle elements and the level of discovery in this game is unmatched, in my opinion. Like, and in a weird way, this reminds me much more complicated puzzles than a Resident Evil, but very, very reminiscent. That's what has kind of driven me forward and really got me hooked into this game, was like just these. And maybe it's the fact that you're also in a mansion, which like in the first Resident Evil, you're in a mansion. But I've just found myself really being compelled to move forward. And the same thing for me, where I'm just like, it's got that one more run thing that these roguelikes do, where you're just like, oh shit, like I got really close to doing what I was trying to accomplish on this run. I didn't quite make it. So I'm going to do it again. One thing that we didn't highlight is, how does a run end? So at the top left-hand corner, you have a step meter. And so every single time you move to another room, you lose a step, right? And there are ways to gain steps if you eat food and things like that. There are also bad rooms that you're going to run into that will actually take steps away from you, which will obviously decrease the amount of time you can be in a run.
One of them's fucking crazy. I don't remember if it's the gym or the auditorium or something that's like you lose half your steps. And it's like, what is this bullshit?
It's the gymnasium that does it, yeah.
That one, I'm just like, that's fucking trouble. There are some bad rooms, and the red ones are generally trouble.
Right. But there's ways to circumnavigate that as well. You get a bomb shelter that's on the outside of the house that allows you to not have whatever modifier affect your run the first time you walk into that room. So there's ways to kind of side skirt any problem that you might have. The biggest thing that you kind of have to learn how to do quickly and effectively is drafting, right? There are ways to not even run out of steps to end a run, but you can literally run into a dead end situation where
Oh
The
yeah.
way that you've drafted just does not allow you to move further into the house, and you have to end your run that way.
And some of that can be bad luck, but you can get quite a lot better.
Yeah.
Like at least as opposed to day 1 and day 20, you're a little, you have some strategy
Right.
where you're trying to just weave back and forth, open
Right.
stuff up, and sometimes picking a room that you don't necessarily love or avoiding a room that you really want because you're like, if I do that, everything's gonna ride on this next room pick, and I don't want it to like this whole run
Yeah.
to live and die off of one RNG on 3 rooms.
For sure. There are also in traditional roguelike fashion, there is persistent upgrades, which are really helpful. You gotta solve some puzzles with inside of the house. Early on, you get the ability to kind of go outside of the house and unlock some gates. And also, one of the gates you unlocks just gives you like more steps. I think it's 20 more steps a day, which is
Oh
fantastic.
damn, I haven't got that.
Yeah, it's really good. And so you start with 70, I believe, instead of 50, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah. And I think there are like, I'm missing one, at least like when you go into the blueprint screen, which is going to show you the layout of on your current run. I have all but one of the persistent upgrades at this point in time. And they're all really helpful, and they're going to help you progress further into the house and ultimately get to the antechamber. Once you get to the antechamber, a lot of crazy shit happens, and a whole nother aspect of the game opens up, and
Just keeps going.
it keeps going. And there's just the level of discovery in this game it's insane, dude. I've never played anything like this. And it's shocking to me that I am as into this as I am, but I am absolutely fucking hooked on this game.
I think one of the things that might help is that one, everything kind of doubles back on itself, and there's a lot of ways to get answers deeper on. You're like, and some things just over time you figure out. There's some picture puzzles, and I've been staring at this. I've known early on there was a fucking deer and a dog tag, and I knew it, and then it was just I couldn't get it, and then it was like last night and 2 nights ago I was just like, fuck it, I got it. Like it just like clicked in my head finally after days of staring at this fucking thing, and that really was satisfying. But then in other ways, like you just like get further, you read another letter, and it's like, oh, this person's talking about, oh, this person just told me how the breaker box works. I've been dealing with the breaker box for 20 days. And suddenly that opened up a whole new thing where you had been using this room but hadn't fully done everything it could do.
Yeah, the breaker box, if you solve the breaker box puzzle, you get a permanent upgrade.
Yeah, I did that.
So that's really nice. But yes, absolutely fascinating kind of experience, the way that this thing works. And I just think that it unfolds itself in such a brilliant way that just you as you progress and you get better at like kind of the mechanics, you're just discovering things on a regular basis that are like epiphanies.
Yep.
You know, like you said, you've been staring at something for a long period of time. Those picture puzzles are incredibly complicated because depending on the combination of pictures, like one picture can mean something differently
in a yeah, for
in
sure.
the sequence with whatever. Like the dog tag, for instance, can be like referencing the dog tag. It can be referencing the number that's on the dog tag. And so that's a brain buster, man.
It's fucking hard, man. I got really lucky. I don't know if it's lucky, but early on within my first few runs, I got the car keys. And there's a room that you occasionally get that you can store one thing for later.
Yeah, coat check.
And I had these keys, and I was just like, these just seem fucking important, and I kept them. And so it was reasonably early in the life of this game I was able to do that mechanic, which was helpful and cool.
They went to the garage.
Immediately like went to the garage, and then was able. There's a few things you have to do to actually fully do it, to have power there and stuff like that. But that's awesome. I really like the who's the fortune teller, Alzara or something.
Yeah,
Fucking something about his voice. Every time I get to watch one of those things, I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah,
buddy.
those are fascinating too, like fever dreams that
Mhm.
really don't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. But they are very cool, and obviously is just a reference to Big, which is fantastic. Yeah, there's just so much discovery in this game, and it really makes you think in ways that like initially you just wouldn't normally think, and
No.
and then you start like really being like, oh, okay, well, what's going on here? um I don't I really like, I've been asking myself, why has this resonated with me, where a lot of its peers, that people are like, I've seen so many people on Steam and things like that being like, if you love The Witness, if you love the Stanley Parable, this is going to be one of the best games ever. And I'm like, I fucking hate those games. uh
I wonder, and the witness might not be like this, but it seems like it's helpful that you really don't run into a lot of times where you're like, I have to do this puzzle right now.
yeah,
Like you can be like, I don't know how to do this puzzle right now,
yeah,
and go have fun in other places and
Mm.
keep making progress in the game.
sure.
And I think that makes it takes the frustration out,
Mhm.
and it takes like I don't have a long I don't have any tolerance for that stuff. Like I will end up just looking up a solution, and I really haven't done that in this game because it's usually I'm just like, I'm just gonna keep thinking about that. I can go do this other shit.
Yeah, no, it's super effective at doing that. I just, I don't know, man. I've never experienced anything like this. I really haven't. And that's my biggest thing is you come up with unique ideas, and sometimes they don't land. But this thing is just doing so many things so well, and I think that like it's melding so many different genres together as well. And doing an excellent job at it, and it's just crazy to see like these old point and click ventures like Myst or something like that with this roguelike element. It's crazy. And then also on top of that, like you have that feeling like in any good roguelike where you're like, I'm having a good fucking run
Yep.
here. I have gotten so many different unlocks here. I've got like 90 plus steps. I'm already
Yep.
deep into the house. I've unlocked one or more doors to the antechamber. I am doing all of the things that I want to accomplish in this run, and it's just so satisfying when you nail it all down. Have you gotten to the antechamber?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got there 2 nights ago.
Okay. And
I
you
went
downstairs.
got through some of the the pallet jack puzzle and
Yeah.
work through that, and then I got into a stalemate, which led me to the next thing I wanted, which was to upgrade the sledge, and I haven't been able to do that.
The sledge is important, but then yeah, but the mine cart is the more problematic aspect, and it requires you to uh draft a specific room on the outside of the house to progress further in the basement, and that is really frustrating because I had a great run where I got to the antechamber, I got the key, used the elevator in the foundation of the house,
Mm.
got downstairs, unlocked the door, did the fucking puzzle that you just described, and then got stuck and couldn't figure out what to do. And it's like I think that's the only thing that I've looked up outside of like some of the explanation of the picture puzzles, because those just made no sense to me. But
There's
eh,
those picture puzzles absolutely have rooms that explain it though.
yeah, I know.
When you get late, it is later in the game, and you've been seeing pictures for a long time.
Yeah,
But there is, you basically find someone's notes of the person making the puzzles, and
right.
he's crossing things out, and you can absolutely look at it and say like, oh, yep, that makes sense. I
Right.
think I get it. And then you start to, you start to be like, wait, am I only seeing those pairs in the same rooms? Because I didn't realize it at first. I kept
Mhm.
seeing the deer. I didn't realize that deer in the tag was always in the bottom right.
Right.
And uh, the problem I have now is getting it solved. Is I got to get up to areas I don't hang out in very often to keep looking at some of this shit to be like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
What am I even looking at? Like
Yeah.
to try to figure it out.
Yeah,
So-
there's just I think another brilliant thing about it is like in an individual run, there's just always something to work towards, right?
Yep.
Where it's like, okay, I've drafted the pool a bunch of times, and I know that if I find the pump station, I can drain the pool. and that's probably going to do something for me.
Yeah.
So let's try our best this run to draft both of those things and drain the fucking pool. That's my goal. I'm not worried about getting to the antechamber at this point in time. I just want to drain that fucking pool. And there's so many examples of that, right? Where
the power.
Sure.
The power will turn on some other rooms.
Yeah, the boiler room is another example where it's like, okay, this serves multiple functions. Like if you've got to draft a boiler room close to the laboratory to get the big machine in the laboratory to activate. There's just so much here, dude, where it's just, I don't know. Maybe this is the game that's going to make me love puzzle games because if you create more games like this, I'm a fan of puzzle games now because I am a huge fucking fan of this thing.
It has a really cohesive vision, which lends itself that one guy, like he took his time.
Yeah.
And everything is exactly how it's supposed to be. And that doesn't mean it needs to be one guy. I'm sure teams can have a great vision, but it's just, as you play through it, it's just very clear that it's just like, yeah, this fucker, like I don't want to be in his head. I don't know how he pulled this off, but it's just, everything is as it should be. One thing that I will criticize, there is no way to save the game in the middle of a run. If you're playing on PC, you're playing on Steam Deck, you can suspend, and that's great. So I have not been playing on PC because sometimes you'll have a run that goes really long and you don't want to quit, and like you get pulled away. That's kind of just a frustrating thing. Like, fix it. Like, just fix it.
Yeah.
like have a suspend mode or something.
Sure. That has never been a problem for me, but we live two different lives. I'm like, I'm finishing this fucking run, come hell or high water, I'm getting through it.
That's fine. But if you're gonna leave somewhere and you have 30 minutes,
sure,
you can't go play the game.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a valid critique for sure, and it should be fixed, unless that's not his vision, I guess. But I don't know. I think that like this game is already so fucking hardcore. It is so hardcore. Like some of these puzzles are incredibly complex. Maybe not the specific room puzzles are not necessarily incredibly complex, but when you are like piecing things together, broader puzzles in the game, it is incredibly complex. And so it's like, this is it's fucking hardcore, man. It's a hardcore game, and has hurt my brain quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a neat thing. People should check it out. It's kind of a special. I don't know where this falls at the end of the year, but god damn, this is just, it's probably my favorite thing I played this year by a considerable margin.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's up there for me as well. I mean, it'll take the rest of the year to kind of see where it falls, but just based on the uniqueness of the whole thing and how this dude melded so many different mechanics from different games into this thing and made it cohesive and super compelling. It's hard to think that it wouldn't be on the list somewhere for sure.
That stupid song, that's there's not a lot of music to this thing, but like
some of the music is so good though.
Certain times it hits. Every time you start a run, it is very subtle, and I'm just like, oh, I'm good. I won't play for another hour.
Yeah,
you're just into it.
Some of the art is not great. Like, it looks fine for what it is, And I mean, obviously, it's not a graphical powerhouse, but just some of like the character animations, I'm like, this is not my personal preference, but it's a pretty small criticism of an otherwise just insane thing that I thought about nonstop since I started.
Remember the price of this thing?
Well, it's on Game Pass, so that's how I got it.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's $40 on Steam, if I remember correctly. But I could be completely wrong about that because I've been playing only on PC and through Game Pass. So
sure,
that's a great get for Microsoft.
Game Pass is having a good 6-month run. Like,
it's been pretty good.
Maybe the best 6 months that they've had. I mean, when you really stand back and look at what they've had, it's maybe they've got their schedule figured out.
Sure. Outside of Avowed being like the tentpole game, which I don't think that game is very good, but there's been like a lot of lesser known games that have come to Game Pass that people seem to really enjoy. And it seems like we're getting a fucking Oblivion remake next week as well.
How do you feel about that? You gonna go play Oblivion?
100%. I'm gonna at least check it out. Like, am I gonna finish Oblivion? I don't know, because that game hit in a time in my life where I literally, that was like one of the games that I can say like I just finished and then
Mm,
started a new save, played it again, so I played a lot of that game, because that was just, I mean, it was such a fucking banger launch title for the 360,
sure.
dude. um but yeah, I mean, screenshots have linked, of
It's
comparisons,
like the
and
worst kept secret of all time is that this thing is going to shadow drop in next week.
yeah,
People have been talking about it for like 5 weeks.
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of smoke, to kind of
mm,
go with the fire, right? Seems pretty likely that it's coming out next week, from everything that I've seen. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, absolutely excited for that. The thing that I've seen, talked about in the industry about this is there was like a lot of really interesting tech around some of the like, uh divergent gameplay, and the way that all of the characters had their own kind of cycles and schedules.
wandering or yeah, yeah,
Right. And that was all developed on their stupid, shitty engine back when it was actually like worthy of talking about, when it was relevant. And this is like, actually, I got to give Bethesda credit. This is going to be, supposedly ported to Unreal.
yeah.
So there's been a lot of questions about like, how does that transfer over to the Unreal Engine? Like the amount of work that potentially you'd have to put in to like transfer over all of these NPCs, daily activities and routines could be like a super big headache. And that was one of the best aspects of the game. So if
Sure.
that's not present and they're just kind of on a track moving around and doing things that are very predictable, that kind of tarnishes the experience that
Sure.
Oblivion was when it came out. So we'll have to see. Like, I just, my in my mind, I'm like, there's just, and how long have they been working on this thing? Like, there's just no way that they have put this much time into this thing. But maybe, I mean, we're gonna find out. And so we'll just have to see with that. But if you remove some of that stuff, I think the game is fundamentally different and probably further worse.
I'm just I have a hard time. I have only played it a little bit. I played more of Morrowind, but
More Morrowind?
yeah,
Wow, that I played a lot of Morrowind, and that game, that thing, that
uh,
deserves a
I
remake over Oblivion.
I just bounced off of Oblivion pretty quickly within less than 10 hours
Yeah.
probably, and I just that combat stuff does not do it for me in those games. Like it's not good is what I will say. Like even Skyrim, which is probably the best one, it's still, you're not here for the really super engaging combat. Like it's
Right.
so I'd be a little worried about how that has aged, and it's just like older Skyrim All right, let me know what you think and
Uh,
how it holds up.
yeah.
But maybe that won't be an issue. Maybe this thing will be awesome.
Especially with Avowed out in the same year, and I think
They did some pretty interesting
a
things
lot
with,
of people love the combat in Avowed, and
yeah,
it's in the same, kind of format, and so it's like evolved in quite a bit of different ways, and it's pretty compelling for a lot of people. So yeah, it
it's like
might be
worse
tough.
combat than Avowed. Like
100%.
yeah,
That's what I'm
absolutely. So
saying,
you're
right?
just gonna be like, well, but if the narrative and it looks better for people, and if they really loved that story and narrative, I don't know if I assume people did, that you get lost in those worlds just like you always can. So I don't know. I highly doubt I touch this thing.
Okay, that's surprising to me, but all right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely will mess around with it and report back whenever we reconvene.
Well, I want to know what it looks like. Like,
Have you seen the screenshots?
no, I've not.
Dude, it looks fucking fantastic. Like
Okay.
there were some leaks, I think late last week or early this week, with side by sides of what they've done, and holy shit, dude, it looks really goddamn good.
If it looks great, that would compel me to be like, all right, I want to get in there.
This is not.
If it looks like a remaster,
It's not.
then I'm gonna be like, well, fucking, I don't
Well,
think so.
it's not. It's not. It's straight up in a new engine.
In a new,
It's in Unreal 5, so it's like it's fundamentally different game for. I mean, all
Yeah.
intents and purposes, right? It's running on a completely different engine. So that is promising for me because it's like, okay, this is like the test pilot for whatever the next Elder Scrolls game is going to be. And we're finally doing away with a fucking engine that they've been making all of their games on for the last 2 fucking decades. Finally. Okay, cool. That's compelling. Watch, they'll be like, well, we just moved Oblivion over to Unreal 5,
When
but
they,
here's whatever the next Elder Scrolls is on our same engine that we made Starfield on.
I remember when they were just like, yeah, it's the same engine. We're bringing it to Starfield. And I'm just like, what? Why? You fucking, what are you doing?
God, that game is so bad,
Like,
dude.
what?
That game sucks.
What are you doing?
Yeah. So I mean, that's the bigger issue is it's like, yeah, you can make a game, you can gussy it up, you can put lipstick on a pig, but fucking that gameplay loop that they are known for, it's worn out. It's fucking welcome.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, who knows? Why don't we take a break? We'll come back and talk about some First Berserker. Okay, we're back. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. It's been a week. It's been a long week.
That's fine. We've got whiskey that we didn't talk about.
That's true. We've been trying this. You left a couple bottles when you were here.
For the dumbest reason ever.
Last weekend, it was super fucking funny. It was like you showed up with 9 bottles, I think it was.
12 bottles.
12 bottles. And you had a bag, and when it was time to go, there was no mathing it to figure out how these things all went back into the same bag. So you're like, well, I guess these ones just live here now.
Yeah. The Tetrising was not Tetrising.
Yeah.
And my sober self was like way smarter than my like 10 or 11 whiskeys deep self, which is not surprising. Really.
For the record, these fuckers show up to my house. We're talking about we're going to record, we're going to have whiskey. And Jared brings 12, and I think Dan brought 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, we maybe went through 25% of what was here. I was just like, what do you guys think was going to happen? Although it was nice having a hilarious selection.
Yeah.
We did not do video of the show, probably for good reason.
Yeah.
But the table in front of us was just mainly bottles.
Yeah, it was just full of really nice scotch and bourbons, and a rye, a pretty good rye in there as well.
That E.H. Taylor one?
Yeah, we had an E.H. Taylor rye. That's the first time I'd ever had that. A lot of people seek that bottle out.
It's nothing crazy expensive on the aftermarket.
It's pretty expensive. Yeah. It's hard to find. A lot of people think it's maybe one of the best ryes that exists. I liked it. But if I saw one out in the wild for, $100 maybe, but some of the secondary prices that those bottles go for, fuck no way.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say that about every bottle, but
yeah, whiskey's in a bad spot. I've seen a lot of posts on Reddit that it's maybe getting better. Maybe it's not getting better here for us, but
yeah,
people have been claiming that they're finding a lot more E.H. Taylors out and about.
Yeah.
We had a release today that had some, but I didn't want to go line up at the liquor store.
I am so bad at checking. I forget what third week it is. Obviously you look at a calendar, you easily can tell, but I just forget to look.
A bunch of Jack that people wanted.
Coy Hill,
12 and 14 years.
Oh, 12 and 14 years.
People were. I was just looking. The people are posting it to Reddit. And they're like, "What should I buy?" And almost everyone was like, "The Jack."
Yeah.
So
maybe a little wishful to think that Coy Hill would show up. Coy Hill supposedly, do you know anything about that? That's supposedly like, if you're going to drop some serious money on a bottle of Jack Daniels, that is the one to go for.
Interesting.
People go crazy for it. But it is pretty expensive. Like the MSRP is pretty expensive, and it is incredibly limited. So it's hard to find.
Well, I'm going to pour some of this Weller, which is exciting. I haven't had this. I've had a couple of them, but
yeah, this is the Weller Full Proof, which is their basically cast strength version of Weller. A hard bottle to find in its own right. You don't see these lying around all over the place. I wish that you did, because I think it's a pretty good product. it's definitely more, it's more intense. It's definitely a more intense whiskey.
They're using cork technology.
Cork technology.
Which you got to bring up because the lower lines of Weller are a screw top.
Correct.
And it makes me so mad.
Well, even the 12-year, which is a hard to find bottle, is a screw tab.
It's just like,
what the fuck are you doing?
Why?
The 107, the antique, the 107, and then the full proof, and then the CYPB, and then the single barrel, they all have corks.
I don't care what the science says on any of it, and this applies to wine too. I don't ever want the screw top. All right, I like the thing. I want to open it with the cork like on a bottle of wine. All the whiskey needs to have it. I don't.
I agree.
Not interested.
It's not the hill I'm going to die on because there are some fantastic products. I mean, like the Weller Special Reserve, like if you can find that for MSRP, that's a great bottle. For
I would never not purchase something because it's screw top. I'm just saying fundamentally they're making a mistake.
Yeah. The Ben Holidays as well. Those are Missouri whiskeys that are all screw tops, and the softwood red wheat in particular, that's a fantastic fucking bottle. So, but yes, I agree with you. I want a cork. The only thing that is problematic is when you get a pretty big library of whiskey, you got to do the little flippy dippy every so often on your corked bottles, because if the cork dries out, the whiskey oxidizes, the taste changes. So,
interesting.
Yeah, so you gotta every so often flip, especially when you get like maybe halfway. This one's probably getting close to where, if you let it sit for a long period of time, and that cork dries out, it's going to oxidize the whiskey completely, and it will taste different.
You just have a reminder on your phone where you go and turn every bottle you have upside down. And
well, that's the thing that's even more complicated, is it's not as simple as just like flipping it and then flipping it back. You got to leave it for like a couple minutes flipped over so that the whiskey soaks into the cork and fully lubricates it.
But in the same breath, you're not supposed to leave them on their side against the cork at all times.
No.
The only thing I do that in my house, I do it with the whatever I'm making old fashions with, because it's coming into my house and it's gone within 30 days or something like that. But
yeah, even that's probably a little too long, because obviously whiskey is alcohol, and it will eat through the cork if you let it just sit on the cork for a long period of time. And then you'll have little itty bitty pieces of cork in your whiskey, and also oxidizes as well from that prospect. So you should make sure that you do that, or you don't do that. But
I don't have space.
I get it. Just don't do it with like a really nice bottle. Like that would hurt me quite a bit if you're like over here with the fucking, I don't know, a single barrel E.H. Taylor on its side or something like that.
Now, how does wine work? Because people keep all wines.
I don't know, Nick. I don't know. Well, I think
it's got to be different. Wine is on its side all over the place.
Higher alcohol content would be my guess.
That's the problem with the whiskey, is it's higher alcohol.
Yeah, and it eats through the cork. And that there is something to be said for like I follow or watch this guy on YouTube. I can't remember the name of his channel, but he just basically drinks wine, which I don't know why I follow him. It's interesting to me to see him like review wines. And he also does like, he'll get like extraordinarily old bottles. Like, this bottle is from fucking 1900 and I'm going to drink it on this show. And the corks just like completely are just destroyed in those old bottles. So they have to, there's like you can either like heat up like a rod that will basically cut the top off of the bottle. That's a thing that you do with wine in particular. So it's basically like two tongs that you heat up red hot, and then you put on the neck of the bottle, and it heats it up to a point where you just like crack the top of the bottle off, so you don't have to deal with the cork, because the corks just straight up disintegrate on those super old bottles of wine.
You can't get them out.
You sometimes can. There's certain ways you can do it, but it just depends on like how old it is, how long it's been sitting on its side, those types of things. So it is a consideration at really, really long periods of time of a wine bottle sitting on its side. But I'm not a fucking scientist or anything. But I would guess that that's probably what it is. You're just, this full proof is, 60 something %, maybe a little bit lower than that. But if you're leaving something
57 or something,
57,
Yeah,
You're
50
leaving
cent.
something that hot
Um,
on a cork, it's going to eat through it pretty quickly.
this Weller Full Proof is fantastic.
It's very good, right?
Is really good. It's because I mean the Weller I have is just fine. It's not anything special. It wasn't very expensive, but this is like, oh yeah, I would buy a bottle of this.
Yeah, I spent a pretty penny on this bottle. It was
Probably.
like $250.
Is that a cask?
No, I got this in Wendover actually.
Nice.
But the MSRP is like $80. So it's kind of a tough pill to swallow, but you're not going to find this. Like,
For sure.
It's just not going to happen. So
Doesn't. Tell me about First Berserker. What's the full name of this thing?
It's called First Berserker Khazan.
Is the Souls like?
It sure is.
Okay.
Very much a Souls-like, from a developer called the Neopol, which is a Korean developer. Which the Koreans are bringing the heat when it comes to these Souls-likes. In the last little bit, we had Liza P, and then we had Stellar Blade, and now First Berserker Khazan. This is a game that is set in the Dungeon and Fighter universe, which is a very popular MMO in Korea. And it has found some footing in the West as well, but I think it's most popular in Korea specifically.
North Korea.
Not North Korea. I don't think that they're really getting a lot of MMOs in North Korea. Unless Kim Jong-un like specifically told the dev team to make one. Where everyone just plays as the great leader. Yeah. I love some of the fucking propaganda around that guy where it's like his dad was like, the first time he ever played golf, he made 18 holes in one. It's like, that is impressive.
Well, unbelievable.
Yeah.
How did he pull that off?
Yeah.
Also, 9 people that witnessed it are dead.
Yeah. Yeah. One guy was like, no, he only made 16 hole in one. And then he miraculously did not make it. So
it's fucked up.
Yeah, it is really fucked up. That place is, you look at it on like a satellite image of it, South Korea is just lit up like a Christmas tree at night, and then there's just like 2 lights in North Korea, and you're like, oh my god, dude.
Those are the ones playing the MMO.
Yeah, exactly. So not a lot of experience with this franchise other than DNF Duel, which was a fighting game that came out I think 2 years ago.
Talked about it on this show.
Yeah, we talked about it on the show. That was a pretty good fighting game that did not have legs and is virtually dead. I don't think very many people are playing it. Looks great. I mean, it was Arc System Works that does the Guilty Gear games, so they all look really nice. But yeah, that's really my only experience until this. So what this thing is it's absolutely a by the numbers Souls-like experience, right? Anything that you could possibly name in any of the Souls games is here, right, and present. It functions very similarly. You're going from bonfire to bonfire, unlocking shortcuts. You die, you lose your souls, you go back to your body, kill the enemy that killed you, or where you fell off of an obstacle, you get your souls back.
Is there a combat hook? Because Liza P did have, yes, it was a Souls-like, but the combat was they were doing something unique. In that game.
Yeah. There's definitely enough here that separates it from like from software game. I would say the first biggest thing that you're going to run into early on is there are only 3 weapon types in this game, which is at first glance, you're like, that kind of sucks. You have a dual wielding weapon type. You have a spear, and then you have a greatsword. So I'm happy. Greatsword's there. And those are the 3 that you get, and that's all you get in the game, right? Really, it's kind of unique the way that it works, because it in a lot of Souls games, you're kind of like going with your build, right? And it's like, I'm running this build, so this is the weapon I use. It's not as...
It doesn't matter if you find a real fancy sword if you're not using swords.
Right.
This doesn't apply.
So it's not as rigid as that. So like, if you're getting your ass kicked by like a boss in this game, you are more than welcome to just switch over to another weapon, just to see if you have a better success with that. That's not to say that there aren't inherent strengths to your build if you're running like greatsword, which I am pretty much exclusively. Obviously you have more strength, you have more carry capacity or weight capacity, so you can equip heavier armor, and obviously the swords have weight too. So
There
those all
are
factor
multiple
in.
swords though, right? Like it's not just one like
Oh no, there's a gear system here.
rare types of weapons you can
Yeah,
find
it's a
within the three genres.
yeah, it's a colored tier system. So pretty standard
Mm,
from that perspective. I think that the best comparison to this game, to previous games, is Neo for sure. This is like a mission based game where you're going into an environment doing a mission. There's gear, you get the gear, you finish the mission, you fight a boss in the level, you finish the mission, you go back to a hub world, spend all your points, rinse, repeat. Right.
sure.
The other thing that separates it, going back to the weapon system as well, there's a skill tree for every single weapon, right? And so,
Is that what you're using your souls on, or are you
no,
leveling up with your souls?
you level up with your souls, and then this is another thing that's unique about it is there is basically objectives that you have to complete for every single enemy that you encounter in the game. So enemy comes at you and you block it x amount of times, or you parry it x amount of times, or you do a specific attack to it
Mm,
x amount of times. Every single objective that you complete, you get a certain amount of experience that goes towards your overall skill tree experience. Once you get to a certain threshold, you get a point, and then you can invest that point in a skill from any of the trees for all three weapons.
Is
Right?
that actively changing how you play the game, or are you just doing whatever you want with the greatsword and you're just
Yeah,
pinging
like
them anyway?
I haven't been able to find a way to look at the skills or the objectives. So like it's more organic where you're just playing through the game and you'll get a
Okay,
little notification that's like, "Hey, you blocked this thing 6 times and here's some experience for it." And
sure.
so yeah, you don't need to like really, I mean, maybe at some point in the game. I haven't finished it, so like I don't know, but I'm pretty far. I'm probably like according to the internet like halfway through it.
Mm.
Um so yeah, so that's kind of the way that works. This game is incredibly difficult. No surprise there. Incredibly challenging. I feel like with Souls games, like Elden Ring is the most recent one that I played. There are certain bosses that you absolutely are going to run into, and they are going to kick the shit out of you, and you're going to just have to learn their tool set, and you're going to
Sure.
have to master it, right? But also, you run into a boss here and there in Elden Ring where you're like, I beat that first try, and that
Yeah.
felt good to do that. That is not the way this fucking thing works at all. It's like have fun with this boss that you're going to fight at least 25 times before you get even close to beating it, right? A lot of them
25 is a pretty high number if it's every boss.
it's every boss. Every boss that I fought, and I fought like 7 or 8 of them. And it's taken me, I mean, maybe not 25 every single time,
Sure.
but multiple tries
You
to
have to
get
learn their
everything down.
kit.
You got to learn everything.
Are they good bosses?
Absolutely, they're fantastic.
Okay.
They work really well. They've got some really unique mechanics here, and they definitely require you to learn their kit. You're not gonna just get by doing what you expect to do in a fight. You kind of have to conform to what um they demand of you, right?
Mm.
So you can fall one of two ways on that. For me, I think that I've been compelled to push through this game because the boss fights are that good. I think that they're quite good. And so yeah, so I said Neo is a good comparison to this, but then I also think Sekiro is a good comparison. There's a pretty robust parry system here. It works very similarly to Sekiro, where you're slowly whittling down an enemy's stamina by doing this dance of parrying.
Mm.
And
You,
as you whittle it down, they get in this like vulnerable state where you can do this big attack and take a big chunk of their health bar off.
you have to engage with that parry system.
100%. Yes. You might be able to get away. There's a dodge system in this that's pretty robust as well. That if you do like a perfect dodge, you can get around enemies pretty quickly. But I think that you would have a pretty hard time getting through a lot of the content that I've seen, at least by dodging. Like you got to really block a lot and parry a lot of shit that's getting thrown at you, and you got to perfect parry it, or you lose stamina. you know. So and a lot of these bosses are super aggressive, so your stamina is gonna get whittled down pretty quickly if you're not perfect parrying at least most of their attacks, right? But I found it so far to be really satisfying from that perspective. The mechanics are very, very good. Like, they all work. It doesn't feel stiff or not fine tuned. They clearly put a lot of time and effort into making sure that this thing feels really, really solid from that perspective. So I've enjoyed that. The other thing that's kind of unique about this thing is it kind of ties into the story as well. The story is just like a revenge porn, basically. You're out to get revenge on a bunch of people that betrayed you. And you early on get possessed by a spirit that basically talks to you through the. I'm playing on PlayStation, and it talks to you through the fucking microphone on the controller, which I hate.
Yeah.
I hate that when games do that, but whatever. And I don't think you can turn it off. At least I haven't found an option to do that. So, but
really, can't you? I mean, can't you go into the PlayStation
well,
settings?
yeah, I guess you could
would
mute
probably
it. Yeah,
revert to your main speakers.
yeah, good
probably.
point. Good point.
It's just super, like, when we play with headphones and then something's coming out of the controller. I never liked it because it's like you have like these noise canceling headphones and this muffled thing coming from the controller.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, so early on you get possessed by the spirit, and then the spirit tells you there are more spirits out there, and we need to fucking absorb them too. And also, I think the spirit doesn't have the best intentions. He seems like kind of a dick.
Like single south at the end.
Yeah, it seems like he's kind of leading you on and taking you for a ride. But where I'm at now, we are absolutely following all of the orders of the spirit. But you go and fight some of these spirits just unlock organically as you progress, and you have to find an item to activate them. Or there's a boss fight where you fight them. Once you beat them, you get their spirit. And those function kind of uniquely where you can equip individual spirits onto your character, and they're all going to do different things for you. And you can also level them up in the same way that you level up your weapon tiers or your weapon skill tree.
They have like magic attacks or like
not magic attacks.
Because that's how Neo is. I mean, Neo has all those spirits, and then you have different attacks.
Yeah, no, it doesn't function that way. It's more just like build modifiers. So like the one that I run, because I have a great sword, is really lumbering, slow wind up, and it also expels a lot of stamina per swing. So I have one that increases my stamina regeneration, right?
Sure.
And the longer you have that spirit equipped, the more it levels up and it gets a better percentage, right? So like you start out, it'll be like 4% stamina regeneration. I've leveled it up like 5 or 6 times. Now I'm getting like 15% stamina regeneration, which is a huge thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then additionally, there are side quests that you can, embark on that are going to have specific items that you can get for said spirit. And so there are certain abilities that are locked behind a gate, an item gate.
Do you load into these side quests, or are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There isn't like an open world in this game, so you load in from one area to the next. But once you complete those missions, then you get an item that you can then further increase kind of the effectiveness of the spirit, and also have the spirit do different things for you. So they're essentially build modifiers, but it's kind of cool the way that it works. I like it quite a bit and have been pretty engaged up to this point. The other thing that's unique about this, while this game is incredibly challenging and very, very difficult, there are ways to kind of just improve your level constantly. And I think that that's one of the big things that separates it from other Souls likes. And the way that it works is like, if you are just beating your head against the wall, fighting one boss over and over and over again, after you die, it'll say like, you completed this challenge for this boss, right? And you get a certain amount of souls for completing that challenge. So if you're really struggling with a boss,
what's an example of the challenge? Like dodge X amount of times, that type of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Parry this boss.
Yeah.
Do this type of attack against this boss X amount of times. And once you complete those, you get experience for your weapon tiers. And then also you get the equivalent to souls in this game. It's called Lacrima in this game. But so even if you're failing, you're still making progress and you're leveling up your character.
How
Uh,
do the souls help though if you keep having to go into the boss and
the
and pull them out?
They don't. That's not the way it works in this. Right outside the boss room they spawn.
They'll be
So
sit, so you don't
yeah,
have to load. That's one of the things that I feel like all of the From games need to switch. It's just like I fucking hate it. You end up with all these souls because you've been doing this boss 30 times and doing the run and killing a few enemies, and then the first 20 seconds of this fight that you've got to have down is you just being like running around scavenging
yeah,
shit. It just like ruins the whole thing. And they
yeah.
got to change it. It's not a good mechanic.
I agree. I like the way that it works here. So like you're never really in danger of losing your souls in this game. I mean, if you have more of a chance of losing your souls up to the boss, right? Than you are in the boss fight because they always spawn in front of the boss door. So it's nice from that perspective. There are hard caps and gates for your weapon skills because there's skill trees, like I said. And as you complete these challenges, you get points to spend. And if you really are struggling with a boss, you'll accrue experience for your weapons only up to a certain point, and then the game will tell you like you're capped from gaining weapon experience until you beat X thing in
So
the story.
it's not forever then.
Not with the weapons, but for souls it is.
Okay.
You just can continue to accrue souls every single time you go into that boss fight. You're gonna get like where I'm at right now. If I fail on a boss run and I at least do some damage to the boss, parry certain amount of attacks, I'm gonna probably net like 2,000 to 3,000 souls for that failure, right? So you're constantly able to improve your character without having to do like farming runs in the environment, right? So kind of unique the way that works. I think it works and it's pretty compelling. There's also I thought there was PvP, but I don't think that there is. You
haven't found it yet.
Yeah, I haven't found it yet, but I have found like the equivalent that you would find in a Souls game, where there's a point in this game where you fight like a copy of yourself, a mimic of yourself, and you kill it, and then you get this ability that allows you to summon these rogue angry spirits to come and fight. And if you kill them, you get a currency that you can then go and spend at the boss room to bring in a friend, right?
To help you.
Initially, I thought that it was a player character. It is not. So it's basically just like a mimic of you. And in my experience, they are fucking worthless. The AI is not.
They don't even take the. I mean, don't they take aggro though? Because
they do take aggro.
I mean, in Elden Ring, half of what I wanted was just aggro off of me.
They do take aggro to a certain extent, which is helpful, but they're just brain dead and moronic. Like I fought this boss last night that you get it to a certain point of its health, and then it does this like whirlwind attack where it creates this giant tornado in the middle of the arena. And if you're far enough away, it won't drag you in. But if you're too close to it, it drags you in, and then it just does constant damage. And if you're blocking, it just drains your stamina bar, which will stun you, and then you're taking big damage from that, right? The problem with that is that the fucking AI is just straight up like, when that tornado attack came in, it was just like, I'm just gonna get sucked in and just stand there, and you just watch it just get destroyed, and it's just like, great. I'm so thankful that you were here and did nothing for me. So kind of dumb from that perspective, but it is nice to have something that's gonna pull aggro.
This game, how does it look?
It looks pretty good. It's got a very unique art style. It's cel shaded and very anime in its execution.
That can be cool.
It's cool. It looks fine. I mean, it's not like a graphical powerhouse. You're not going to be like, holy shit, this thing looks gorgeous. But I think that the art style is good. I like it. The characters look really cool, and the environments are good enough. They're not super expansive environments. It's very much an old school Souls-like Dark Souls or anything like that, where you're just going from A to B, unlocking a couple of shortcuts to get to bonfires a little bit more effectively, and then going and fighting a boss, right?
So you said the story was just like a revenge story. Is there a lot of it, or is it just
not really? There's not a ton of story. That like you finish a mission and there'll be like an animated cutscene that will progress
Mm,
the story and explain some of the background of
mm.
Khazan, who is the character you play as. But it's not like hit you over the head with story. And then the NPCs will talk to you in the hub world every so often. You know, the NPCs will be like, I need to talk to you. And you go and talk to them and they give you like some flavored text basically. And that's it.
Just nothing much.
No,
Hmm.
it's not the draw here at all. But I will say that I really have enjoyed my time with this so far. I think it's a very solid, albeit pretty standard Souls-like experience. I think there's a lot here to enjoy, especially if you really enjoy the aspect of a Souls-like where it's like, okay, the mechanics are fair here, and I've got to learn the mechanics really, really well to have any success,
Sure.
right? I haven't felt up to this point, aside from like a few instances where I'm like, this is complete bullshit, where I feel like I've been cheated out. Like every single time I die, it's my fault, right?
Mm.
It's just like get good, motherfucker type thing. One thing I will say that I think is absolute garbage is they do the whole like this guy's hiding behind the corner, you
All the
know.
time,
Well,
and
not
then they come spear you off a ledge.
yeah, stuff like that, but like even more diabolical where they very like this level that I just did last night, very intentionally there's like this lizard archer, right? And he's far away from you and he's
Mm.
shooting his dumb little bow and arrow at you and you're like, I'm gonna get you, motherfucker. And off to the right hand side you can see an enemy, another lizard with a sword and shield. So it's like, okay, I gotta take care of the sword and shield guy and then beeline to the archer.
Mm.
And there's just a giant hole in the ground right in front of it. And like the first time that you encounter this, you're like, kind of on autopilot. And I just beeline directly to the archer and fell in the hole and died. And I was just like, you motherfuckers, like this is super intentional, very intentional. Another thing that I think is cool about it is there are like kind of modifiers to some of the boss fights that you can kind of trigger in the environment. Like for instance, there's a spider den, of course there is, where there's a bunch of poison. I know you love that. And if you get to the end of that area and there's like a mother spider, this big ass spider,
Mm.
and there are like holes in the walls that as you're fighting the mother spider, like little spiders will kind of crawl in, and then there are more things that you have to deal with. But if you go back through the level, there are little kind of hidden areas with these big giant basically stacks of dynamite that you can light on fire, and they blow up caverns so that when you go into the boss fight, the caverns where the little spiders come out of are closed off, so you don't have to
Nice.
deal with them. So there's cool shit like that that I like quite a bit. But
What's the monster hunter thing? The Dragonator. The what does World have in their arena? The thing you'd activate.
yeah, the
Is
Dragonator.
that
Yeah, it's kind
more
of
people should do shit like that?
yeah, agreed,
It's just-
agreed. I will say that the greatsword feels really nice in this game. There's charge mechanics with the greatsword,
Okay.
which I love. There's very much. It's not one for one to like Monster Hunter, but it's close enough where you're like, yeah,
Oh.
this feels good when you hit this like big giant like burly attack after you charge it up and do big damage. Pretty satisfying. So
Yeah, I'd be curious how I'd feel about it. I don't love the weapon thing. Only a few of them because that's not what I've been gravitating towards in these
Mhm.
games lately. But
yeah,
who knows?
it's better than I thought it would be. Like I said initially,
Well, they
you're
have a
like,
tree, so that's something,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and it's like they're at three fucking weapons, but there is a
Yeah.
lot there. So for each weapon, there is four skill trees, right? And they're pretty big. So
Separate trees
separate
that
trees,
you can
four
all
separate
be
trees.
dumping points in at the same time, or you have to like finish a tree and then you move. To
You
the
can dump
next
them
one?
in at the same time.
Okay.
So that's where kind of the depth of a weapon build goes. And then also, if you're in a point in the story where you're not at one of those like hard caps for experience for the weapons, like I have found myself on a couple of bosses switching between weapons. So like the spear is a lot faster, but you're not doing as much damage. You're not doing as much stun. But I ran into a boss where he was just so aggressive and fast that like, and there wasn't like a lot of room in between like his attacks for me to like hurl my big ass sword into them. So I was just like, this is just not working. So I switched to the spear and had a lot more success with the spear because I got poke really quickly.
Even though you hadn't been progressing the tree. Yeah.
Right. So like with like other or especially like Souls games, that doesn't really work where if you're a greatsword build and you're like, I'm gonna use a spear, you're gonna get fucking wrecked. It's not gonna work.
You have to respec it.
Yeah, exactly.
Do the whole thing and change it.
Which you can respec in this. There's it seems like a pretty liberal dose of the currency that allows you to respec your kit if you want to do that. I haven't found myself needing to do that, so it's been nice from that perspective. Also, something to be noted, because I think this is a big point of contention when we talk about Souls games. There's difficulty slider here, so
interesting.
I've heard. I'm just on normal. There's only easy and normal. And I think you get like the hardest difficulty after you beat the game. I have heard that easy is not so fucking easy.
So people are still like, what is this?
That it is still incredibly challenging.
The ultimate troll would be like having the easy slider, and easy's harder than normal.
Yeah.
One of these games where they're just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You bitch, get good.
Yeah. So it's still a very hardcore experience that's going to test your mettle, and it's not going to be for everyone. But I think if you're a fan of this style of game, there's enough here that differentiates it from other games in this kind of, vein or the genre now.
You going to finish it, you think?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Blueprints has just absorbed all of my time. I should have been much further in Khazan, but I straight up just was like, I'm going to play this stupid fucking puzzle game for a couple of hours and then come and shit on the podcast. It was definitely my intention. And then it just completely absorbed me. And then all of the time that I would have invested in Khazan just went to Blueprints.
Everything upside down. You know what you got to do? Because I really want to finally hear your opinion on it. I'm pretty sure DLC for Lies of P comes out in the summer.
Yeah.
And they've said it's 15 to 20 hours. So that wasn't a massive game, but that would, who knows if the DLC will be any good. But there's aspects in that one day I want to hear what you think about it.
Yeah. I think that, this is pushing me towards that becoming a reality even more, because it just seems like the Koreans, they've got this genre down. It's kind of unique and interesting to think about it, but like Korea is such a passionate gaming community. And they've obviously gravitated towards more like esports games historically. StarCraft in particular is like a fucking religion there. Like whole ass TV stations dedicated to StarCraft, which is crazy. Boggles the Western mind, but they are absolutely super into it. But it's interesting that there hasn't been more really like well-received, critically acclaimed Korean developed games.
That's true.
But we're getting to a point where they are absolutely dipping their toe. That can be said for fucking China after fucking Wukong last year. My God.
There's more coming. I don't know. One of the people I follow on Blue Sky posts them, and I'm not gonna know the names, but he's constantly showing different things. It's just like Blue Kong has just opened the gate, and it's going to keep on going. What is that shitty MMO that came out? That's it's cel shaded. It's on.
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
It's
free to play, and it is gotcha like shit where you're unlocking characters, and it's
Honkai Star Rail?
No, it came out when my daughter was born. Anyway, that was from China.
Oh, are you talking about the one that you got into with like all the different characters?
Yeah.
That's
fucking cool.
It's the same. It's the same team that made Honkai Star Rail. What the fuck is the name of it? I know what you're talking about. Yeah. But I don't know, man. Like I really, it's interesting to see like these Korean devs making these Souls-likes and really doing a good job with them. I mean, you really love Liza P. I think we both really like Stellar Blade.
Yep.
And so it's like, yeah, I think that this thing is absolutely worth it. If you've got some free time and want to check out like a very solidly made Souls-like, this is a good one.
Some good shit. You got anything else to add to this thing? What are you about?
I think that's going to do it, man.
Pre-orders are next
Thursday.
Yeah. So next week for the Switch, I will be attempting. Hopefully I can just get one locked down because my daughter spent. I was tired yesterday after I was working, and I went and I took a nap. And she was next to me, and she watched 1 hour of Nintendo trailers on my phone while I was
Oh,
sleeping, and it was just Mario Kart, like all the shit.
wow.
And then she woke up this morning, and it's a weekend. We could play games, like the sky's the limit. And she's like, "Can we watch some trailers?" It's like, fucking what?
What did you watch? What trailers did you watch?
Like, I mean, it was all of the Switch 2 stuff that she was
Oh,
just cycling through it. I didn't watch anything. I was sleeping. I just kept waking up, and I'm just like, "You're still watching." I'm like, "This is Mario 3D World. We have this game. Why are you watching a trailer for?" But she didn't know about Bowser's Fury. We'd never played it.
oh,
And she's
okay.
like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "They're saying it's in the game we play." I'm like, "Yes, it is." I forgot that I played Bowser's Fury, but there's a 2-player mode. I didn't realize that. So I guess we got to go dabble with that.
I heard good things about that. I never messed
It's
around
awesome.
with it. Yeah, I like a lot of people were like, God, we hope that the next, because this came out after Bowser's Fury came out after Odyssey,
Mm.
and a lot of people were like, we hope that the next Mario game emulates whatever they're doing in Bowser's Fury.
It's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I didn't finish it, but I played a good amount of it.
What are they doing? What is so unique about it? I don't even know.
It's open world, and every, we'll say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, Bowser gets pissed off and like ruins everything you're working on. He just shows up and fucks everything up, and you got to fight him or run away. And you
Hmm.
can power up and get huge and actually fight him. And I mean, it's not doing anything that crazy. It's still the same shit, but there's a lot of puzzles. It's just the open world nature of it was pretty cool.
Gotcha.
You're,
Uh,
you're on that dumb fucking